Hello, everyone, and welcome to our lunchtime chat today. Have you heard that the House of Representatives recently passed a Crown Act that will ban hair related discrimination? In this day and age, who would even think that people would deny opportunities, education, and employment based on how people's hair naturally grows from their scalp? But here we are, and there obviously needs to be more education around understanding the history and art of self expression through hair, our hair in particular. And that is what we're going to talk about on today's chat. My name is Dr. Crystal Porter, and I'm a hair scientist and owner of Main Insights, a company that conducts research and focuses on the hair needs of people of African descent. This platform is designed to elevate the Black hair care industry and empower consumers and hair practitioners with education that is driven and backed by scientific research. So, before we get started, I'd like to know who is out there with me today. Please put your name in the chat, and then I would also like to know where you're from. And if you are a hair practitioner, put the number one. If you are a consumer, put the number two. And if you are a researcher or a scientist like me, put the number three in the chat. Also, please like and share. If you are on YouTube, let us know. If you are on LinkedIn, let us know. And if you are on Facebook, let us know. Now, before we get started, I want to let you know that if you are frustrated with the lack of information available to you when it comes to caring for your hair, and you have wasted a lot of time, money, and resources trying to figure things out on your own, you are definitely in the right place. And that is why we have created the Our Black Hair Matters movement. I have also put together a very valuable resource called The Three Biggest Mistakes to Avoid When Caring for Your Curly Hair. And you can go to ourblackhairmatters.com to get that. And lastly, if you have a pressing concern and need to have a conversation, I have a team of vetted professionals who are standing by. And you can schedule a 15-minute consultation by going to bit.ly/OBHM consult, and that will pop up. There it is there. All right, it is time to get started. I would like to introduce to you Dr. Tameka Ellington. She is the co-curator and visionary of the Existing Textures exhibit and the upcoming Texture Symposium that will take place April 14th and 15th at Kent State University. So welcome to the chat, Dr. Tameka.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Crystal.
No, of course. Especially since it's up and coming, I thought it'd be the right time to get you in here.
Yes.
But before we jump in, I want to recognize the people who have introduced themselves. So thank you for coming. We have Muhammad, says it's an amazing topic. We have Andrea, she is a consumer. We have Sydney, she is a scientist and researcher. Muhammad is in Chicago. We have Marie Charles. We have Abdul, a trichologist here in Chicago, Illinois. And then Marie says, happy to be here. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I want to let people know a little bit more about you. So I want to talk about your bio or give people a background. Okay. So not only are you co-curator of the Textures exhibit, you are CEO and founder of the First Generation Revolutionaries, a movement developed to provide professional development, networking, and spiritual fulfillment for your clients. And she is a motivational speaker, international acclaimed and awarded educator and scholar, professional development strategist, and first generation student advocate. Dr. Tamika is the author of Make Fear Your Superpower, a witty and real memoir that speaks to the inner courage that we all possess. She is also author of Be the GOAT, Career Readiness Manual for First Generation Students and Young Professionals. She helps youth increase their confidence and realize the power that they have inside. She is dedicated to helping others face their fears and go beyond their circumstances so that they can become the best versions of themselves. Her mantra is revolutionize your thinking.
Yes, yes,
Awesome.
absolutely. Can you
Great.
still hear me? You can still hear me?
I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Good.
Woo. So let's jump in. There's lots of things going on. So I have
Yes.
I have
Yes.
questions for you about the textures exhibit and the upcoming symposium, but also everyone is talking. I mean, my husband and I had this long discussion last night. It continued this morning about the Oscars and all that. So,
Yes.
but I don't want that to supersede you. So so I gave your background. Is there anything you want to add based on the information that I gave?
I am an educator. I mean, an educator and empower. Like, as long as I have a space where I can educate others about Black culture, Black beauty, and advocate for those who are disempowered, I mean, I'm a happy woman. So that's what I'm here to do.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, what was the motivation behind you having the textures exhibit in the first place?
So the textures exhibit came from about almost 20 years of research that I've been doing. I started researching about Black hair when I was a master's student at Michigan State back in 2002. And I've always had this need to want to understand why society had such a disdain with Black hair and Black beauty. I remember being a young person. I had just finished my freshman year in undergrad, and I had gone to work at an amusement park. And one of the things that stuck out to me was the dress code. They were talking about how you had to, of course, wear the uniform that they gave you, but then they had all these other like regulations and policies about how you could wear your hair and what kind of jewelry you could have and all this stuff or whatever. But all of the hairstyles that they listed, like the majority of them were Black types of hairstyles. So you couldn't wear braids, you couldn't wear afros, you couldn't wear dreadlocks. And at the time, I was in the process of transitioning out of wearing a perm into having my natural hair. So I've been natural now since 98. And so I was in the process of transitioning out of wearing a perm, and I had a little curly afro that I was wearing. And I'm sitting there at the training, getting this information from my new employer telling me that the way that I have my hair at the current moment, was not the way that I could wear my hair to work. And so I didn't last very long at that particular place of employment. And I just it stuck with me so much that I was like, what is it? Like, why, first of all, why is it that Black people don't like their hair? And then why is it that society keeps telling us that we shouldn't like our hair? And so that research stemmed from, years of hurt that I've experienced myself as a Black woman, having issues with hair loss from using harsh chemicals in my hair. I lost my hair once when I was about 5 or 6 years old because I had a mixture of chemicals that went bad in my hair. And then I lost my hair again when I was a high school student. I think I was a freshman in high school. I lost my hair a second time because of the chemicals. And it's just, as Black women, we've just gone through so much. And I just wanted to have a better understanding about all the stress and the triumphs that we've had, because over now, like when I first started this research, that's when the natural hair movement started. And I wanted to learn what's happening now. We've had this struggle, so now are we like kind of getting to a point where we're overcoming some of that struggle? And so that's what most of the research was about, is looking at Black women who decide to wear their hair natural. What type of like level of self-esteem do these women have? What are they dealing with from their day-to-day basis? Like, are they having issues with dating? Are they having issues in their marriage? Are they having issues at work? And so those are all types of things that I started researching. And just through, from those years of research, because I'm also a designer, my background is in fashion design. I really wanted to have a visual way to be able to express all of the research and data that I collected over the years. And that's how Textures was birthed.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people who, well, let me say it the other way. I think a lot of people who are Black,
Yeah.
women in particular,
Yeah.
can definitely relate to your
Oh,
experience.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you started, it sounds like you grew your hair out natural before what I'm going to call the movement
Yep. I did. I did.
of the 2000s. I think it started, the mass movement started
Yeah.
early 2000s and
Uh
is
huh.
continuing to this day.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because when I started, it was before it was popular.
Mhm.
And I had issues with dating. There were only certain men that wanted to talk to me. And still today, even today, that is still the case where there's only certain type of men that want to date someone who does not have hair all the way down her back, with this long, stringy, straight, hair all the way down her back. I mean, there's still so much to talk about, and unpack there, and so I just really wanted to have a better understanding of what the situation was. What is this phenomenon that we call black hair?
Wow.
Yeah.
So, to your point, since you brought up alopecia, we're going to go
Yes.
ahead and transition
Yes.
early into what happened last night. And
Yeah.
I have a whole lot of opinions about it, but I want to focus on. So, let me give background information. So, talking about the Oscars last night, and I could not believe when my friend Penny, who is actually here, hey Penny, thanks for joining us, um, showed me the video of what
What
transpired.
happened? Yeah.
And so, for those of you who may be under a rock, so Will Smith went up to the stage while Chris Rock, after he had a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith's hair, and basically talking about G.I. Jane. And those of you who may not know that,
Hmm.
she is a character who was bald.
Hmm.
And Will was actually laughing about it at first. And then he saw Jada's expression and then got caught up in emotions and
Oh,
went up to
yeah.
the stage and struck Chris Rock.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to talk about the aspect of whether or not he was right or wrong. We all have our own opinions about
Opinions about it.
that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But what I do want to talk about is the fact that Jada was not, I mean, you could tell she did not like that comment. She rolled her
Absolutely.
eyes.
Absolutely.
And so that means she was very sensitive to the fact that someone would crack a joke about the fact that she had no hair.
Right.
So when you brought up experiencing alopecia, I'm
Yeah.
curious about your take on that since you personally experienced that yourself.
The first thing that I thought about the rage that he must have felt to have the gall to get up and do what he did. I'm sure he's seen his wife over the year and a half or so when she's been experiencing this, or at least when she made it public that she was experiencing this.
Right, right.
Um, he's seen all the hurt. He's seen all the disappointment. He's seen her trying to figure out, okay, well, what kind of wrap should I wear today? Trying to figure out
Yeah,
how to make herself more presentable.
yeah,
You know, she is probably one of the most beautiful black women, that we have today. And for her to have to deal with losing her hair was just another um it was difficult for her because she's in the public eye first off, and then she's considered one of the prettiest women, but now all of a sudden it's almost like her level of beauty has gone down a couple notches because of the fact that she no longer has her hair. So she's gone through all of these emotions, and I'm sure her husband has been right there seeing every single thing that she's gone through,
yeah,
and just the emotion, that he had, the emotion that she had. I mean, just made for the situation that happened. um, One of the things that bothered me the most about it was that I still have not gotten over the fact that Chris Rock made the crazy movie that he made, Good Hair, back in 2009. That has still been something that has bothered me and other people, that are advocates for Black hair. When he made that movie, for those of you that have not seen that movie, Good Hair, he produced it in 2009. It was like a documentary. It was his way of wanting to have a better understanding of why Black women want to straighten their hair, why they want to wear weave.
Yep.
And he pretty much kind of like put our dirty laundry out there with no real explanation why Black women so desperately want to straighten their hair and so desperately want to wear weave. It was almost like this spectacle that he made fun of. He said that he was wanting to have a better understanding of his daughter's situation and his daughter wanting straight hair, but he should have really, I mean, it's too sensitive of a topic for you not to really unpack. And he did not unpack that situation. And then for him now, years later, after people still like feel some kind of way about him producing that movie, and then for him to make that comment just shows how insensitive he is in regards to Black women, in regards to Black beauty, and the things that we deal with our hair.
Wow. You said it.
Yeah.
There really isn't much to be said after that. I know that there are some comments. Siriel, thank you for your comment. I will touch base with you at a later time about reading your message. So thank you. Penny said, yes, it's true about what we were talking about, or what you were talking about, and how your hair experiencing alopecia and the things that we go through. Sydney says, right. Taria says, what did I miss? So hopefully you got the background. Penny also said that you're on point, Dr. Tamika. And then Bloody Hannah says there's also, this is also coming from the person who made good hair, and that's what you brought up.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah. And you know what? You're like one of the few people who I know had a problem with good hair, because most people loved it. And I had a problem with it too. I mean, it was entertaining, but I can separate things and say, okay, he's a comedian, so he had a twist to it. But I really had a problem with it because a lot of the things that he said, you're right, it was airing a little dirty laundry, so to speak. But more so than that, I think it was a lot of misinformation as well. He didn't put it into context, because the hair extension and weave conversation is a whole chat on itself.
Yes,
so
it is. Yes, it is.
Into that. But yeah, it is. I had a problem with it too. So yeah. And it made me think after I saw it, so when I started talking about what was coming up with this chat today, I talked about how you can look at our hair and see our mood, you can see our personality, but you can also see our heritage, right?
Absolutely.
But the things that I didn't say that I thought about last night is, how individualized, that our hair is, so we choose particular styles because of who we are.
Right.
But it also is a reflection of our struggle.
Oh, yeah.
And that is what Jada,
absolutely,
I think, was going through last night. It was like a showcase of her struggle.
Absolutely.
And I have heard that Chris Rock has said today that he didn't realize that she had a condition. And I understand that. I mean, jokes are jokes. He got laughs, but at the same time, jokes are sometimes told and people are offended, and it's someone who's going to take the hit, right?
Well, see, as a Black man, he really should have been a little bit more sensitive. I was just disappointed. I was disappointed, especially too for him to. And I'm just saying this. I'm just going to say it, for him to say that joke and to say it in the presence of all those white people.
Yeah. Well, so G.I. Jane Part 1 was with Demi Moore, right?
Right.
And she shaved her head for that particular
part. Right.
And so I don't know if he even knew that she had a condition and then just shave her head, because there is also another movement among Black women who are shaving their heads. Just don't want to deal with it.
Absolutely.
And so it's like, it came at a time, meaning Jada shaving her hair came at a time where I think it empowered Black women to
Yeah.
just do them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you are okay doing you wearing your extensions. You are okay wearing your natural hair, wearing it, relaxed.
Right.
Or if you want to shave it bald, hey, power to the
Right.
people.
Right.
So yeah. Now Penny says she she doesn't necessarily agree with the Chris Rock statement. Okay. And then I believe as a man, he just don't get it. Well, that's true. I
Hmm.
don't think, yeah,
Yeah.
the opinions my husband and I had this morning did vary because I am a Black woman and he is a
Oh
Black
yeah.
man. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
so, but
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
said, that
Right.
goes
Right.
beyond the scope of what we're talking about.
Right.
But Taria agrees with you. She says so much to unpack as to know how we relate to our hair and beauty. The more conversations I have, the more I understand. I have empathy with my sisters. Yeah, it's not just one thing. Absolutely correct.
Hmm.
Abdul says that's why I got involved to help women struggling with hair and scalp issues. Dr. Tamika,
Hmm.
you're right on point. Thank you for your commentary. Awesome. Taria says, show ladies, you have to be responsible with your words. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
You never know what someone is going through. And then, yes, I got you. All right. Thanks, Taria. One more. Penny says, I remember how my hair falling out and my boyfriend didn't understand what it did to my esteem. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. And you had to wear hats to bed and scarves. Woo! Now that's
That's
serious.
deep. That's deep right
Yeah,
there.
it sure
Yeah.
is.
Hmm.
Yeah. So we have a lot of trauma. And this actually gets to the point of hair therapy. So you and I were
Yeah.
talking beforehand that
Yes.
we are finally going to be able to meet each other in person. But
Yes.
the other person who is a keynote speaker is Dr.
Yes.
Afia M. Mbilishaka.
Shaka.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And she has a program called Hair Therapy
Yeah.
because she studies the trauma that Black
Right.
women go through when it
Right.
comes to losing their hair or having hair issues. So
Right.
that is going to be
It
fantastic.
is. It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Mhm.
I can't wait. It's been long overdue.
Yeah.
Long
And
overdue.
the one thing that I want to talk to her about, and I had no idea about this, my husband had to bring this up this morning, as a matter of fact. And so I don't know if you have the answer to this question, but it's something I'm going to ask Dr. Afia. And that is there is a practice in the country of Nigeria where the judges wear wigs
Oh yeah.
on their hair. And I
Yep. They
now, oh, go ahead.
you're talking about the judges wear these, they wear the powdered wigs. Is that what you're talking about? Is that what
They
they
look
wear?
blonde, so maybe they are powdered wigs.
That we actually have a piece of artwork in our exhibition that is Yoruba piece of art, and it's a beaded cap, and it is modeled after the the white powdered wig that the British
Right,
men of hierarchy wore.
right,
And really what that is just a symbol of it's a symbol of the colonialism that Nigeria had to deal with. And so they see that wig as a symbol of power. And so that's what they're attracted to. They're attracted to the symbol of power. So many of our African nations have more recently gotten their independence. So Ghana just recently got their independence. I think it's been about maybe 65 years. Nigeria, probably about the same amount of time. I can't remember when they got theirs, but it's not been very long. And
mhm,
so a lot of the colonized brainwashing that they dealt with, they they're still living it out. Like they're like that's what you see. You know, I was very surprised that when I went over to Ghana, that there were many Black women over there that were wearing their hair in like they were wearing wigs. They were wearing, you know, their hair straightened. I was just surprised. Like, yeah, I was very, very surprised and a little disappointed. You know, like I can't believe it. But I mean, again, they the colonialism, the colonization that we dealt with is very different than the colonization that they dealt with. We still both dealt with it. We have now been able to advance a little further than they are. They are now where we were back in like the 40s. That's where
Yeah.
they are. That's where they are.
Yeah. So when I had global studies when I was in corporate America, what they told me when I did travel to different countries in Africa is that they tend to be 10 to 15 years behind the US. And so I think that that is going to change. But
Hmm.
I think the evolution of products that will cater to our specific needs will help with that as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that's really awesome about the symposium, we have one of our researchers that are coming. He's actually from Ghana. And so he's going to be talking about the natural hair movement in Ghana
Okay.
and what's been happening. So we'll learn a lot about that.
That's
Hmm.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's great to get the worldly perspective because
Absolutely.
we live in our bubble here in the US. There are very few
Absolutely.
people who leave this country.
Yeah,
There are some people who don't even leave their state. But
absolutely.
to get the perspective and understanding of what's happening to people worldwide is very
Yeah,
important. So I'm
yeah.
excited to hear that you have representation from
Hmm.
people who are global.
Yeah, yeah. And what's really awesome is that several of the researchers in the symposium are, international. So they may live in the United States, but their perspective is coming from, Africa or the Caribbean or other places around the world, or even Europe. We have a couple artists that are going to be presenting, and they live in Europe as Black people living in Europe. So they're going to have a very, you know, unique perspective to
Yeah.
offer. Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I printed out the brochure, not
Yeah,
brochure,
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah,
the program.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like 2 full days
Hmm.
of information. And
Yeah.
so one of the things that I'd like to know is how did you find all these people? I was really surprised. I was like, wow, it's a different perspective and it's a lot of content. So
Yeah.
how did you find these folks?
Well, my co-curator, Dr. Joseph, and I put out a call. So we just, put it out to people that we've been working with, researchers that I talked to before. There's a couple other researchers that I've worked with. I have a book that I'm going to be hopefully publishing and getting out very, very soon. The name of that book is Navigating the Black Hair Phenomenon in a White World. And so one of the researchers that wrote for that anthology, she's also going to be presenting. So, we had pockets of people that we just sent the information out to, and, they responded, and we were very proud and happy that, we got so many people that were interested in wanting to present. But yeah, we just had an open call, and the
Okay,
researchers, they just came. Yeah, yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Now, one title is called Behind the Salon Chair, The Pressure and Influence on Black Hair and Its Appearance. And that is going to be by LaDosha Wright, who is a
Yeah,
salon owner. And
yeah,
so she has a unique perspective,
yes,
as
absolutely.
a lot of my audience members are practitioners
Yep,
and
yeah.
hairstylists. And yeah, they have stories.
Yes, they do. Yeah, absolutely. LaDosha is an amazing person. She actually is one of our community partners that we have for the Textures exhibition.
Mhm.
She helped us to get other sponsorships. We were able to get connection with a company called Rev Air. They make hair products. So she has her hand on the pulse because she also is very interested in legislation that goes on in regards to Black hair.
Mhm.
She helped to pass legislation in Ohio that made so that African immigrants that were coming over to United States, moving into Ohio and opening up these braid salons, for a long time, they did not have to have a license to do hair. They could just open the salon and just start braiding people's hair. Well, LaDosha helped to put in place where they have to go through the steps to get legalized and to have a license so that they can properly make sure that they're taking care of people's hair the right way, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really important. And so she's done a lot of wonderful things. She's also been instrumental in helping get the Crown Act passed in Cleveland, where we're from. So it's been a amazing partnership with her. And
Yeah.
she has a book that she published called "What They Don't Tell You in the Salon." Yeah, so she has another. Yeah, she's an awesome woman.
That's awesome. I can't
Yeah,
wait to meet her. I've seen her name around.
yeah,
I just never
yeah,
had the opportunity to meet her. So that's going to
yeah,
be
yeah.
fascinating.
She's a wonderful woman.
Awesome. So, how you're going to have it at the Kent State University Museum?
Yes.
And was it easy? So a lot of times we have these big ideas, and sometimes people don't want to open up that box, right? They're like, I don't think I want to be bothered with that or have that type of attention here. So was it what was that process in terms of getting buy-in from the powers that be to host it?
We were really blessed because when Dr. Joseph and I first had the idea to do textures, we were debating whether or not we should have it at a Black institution because we were actually looking at maybe having it at Howard. I believe Howard has a really beautiful gallery space. And so we would have, worked with Howard to produce the show there and, have it there. But then we were both thinking, like, okay, well, this show is not just for Black people.
Mhm.
This show is for everyone. We want everyone to come and have a better understanding of Black hair, Black beauty. And so we were like, well, why not just have it here? And so we were actually in luckily we were lucky too because the way that it all happened, the director that the museum had for probably like the past 30, almost 25, 30 years, she was retiring and we were getting a new director. And as soon as that new director came, Dr. Joseph and I went straight to her and we said, "This is our idea. This is what we've been wanting to do." And she was like, "Absolutely, let's do it." And so she's just been on board ever since the beginning. Yeah, yeah. So she's one of the things that she really, really wanted to do was to help to change the demographic of the patrons that come to the museum. Kent, Ohio, is a small town, college town. It's a very white town. Kent State University is a predominantly white institution, so it's surrounded by a very white population of people. The people that would come to the museum are all very white, older people. And so she really wanted to focus on ways that she can make the museum accessible to everybody, to make it so that people of color, younger people, would want to come to the show. And so Textures was a way for her to be able to open up that door to allow other people to see, okay, this is a space for you as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is awesome to off
Yeah.
the bat get that support because
Right. Yeah.
it's more of an uphill battle if you have
Oh,
to
yeah.
fight for the right to
Oh, yeah.
express, but that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. She's been wonderful. Yeah.
Great. So I want to recognize Dr. Tawana. Yeah, I heard about your honorary degree. Congratulations. And she says, I love my natural hair and having a mohawk is such freedom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, good. Now, you said that this is also open to people of other ethnic backgrounds, for example.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so we oftentimes hear that Black people need to know their history, right?
Yeah.
And so why would you think the content that you're going to have is really going to benefit Black people and others and educate? Because I started off by talking about the House of Representatives passing
Yes.
Crown Act, but that's just step one.
Absolutely.
That's just
Absolutely.
step one. And it was so disappointing to hear that it passed, if I'm not mistaken, along party lines,
Hmm.
which I don't understand that. I mean, I'm just speechless because why in this day and age do people from every background, every political thought, why do they think that it's okay to discriminate the way that Black people wear their hair? I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me
You know what?
at all.
Actually, I wish I had it in front of me, but I don't know if I do or not. But I'm actually giving a presentation to a corporate office tomorrow. They asked me to come and speak about Black hair history and how companies can better support their Black staff who are wanting to wear natural hair. And so when I was in the process of putting that presentation together, I looked up the stats now of the Crown Act and where it's been passed and where it hasn't been passed.
Yep.
And it is so sad to see there are so many states that had it, open. They opened it up. They voted against it. I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, what is the deal? Like, it does not hurt you to allow us to just be us. It does not. It doesn't hurt you in the least bit. I don't understand it. It's just a way for them to continue to have agency over our bodies. That's what it is. It's a way for them to be able to continue to put a little thumb and some control over Black people. And it drives me crazy. I just couldn't believe that in this day and age that it would not pass everywhere. It should have passed every place.
Yeah. I would love to be at a table having an open dialogue with people who are against it. I really want to
Ooh.
understand. And I don't I, I don't know if it's them wanting to control us, or is it that they feel that it may be perceived as unkempt in some
Well, see, that's
instances.
the
I
that's
mean,
the
because I've
problem.
heard,
That's the problem right there. It's their perception about our hair. It's that our hair is unprofessional. Our hair texture needs to be maintained. It needs to be tamed, right? That's the problem. Is their overall perception, and also too, this is not just an issue that non-black people are having. There are many black people, from my understanding, and Ladocia was telling me about a situation where she had someone that she knew personally who was a black person who was against passing the Crown Act. And it just blows my mind that there are even black people who are so freaking brainwashed that they think that we still, like, the hair that I have, the hair that you have is unprofessional. That our hair has to be bone straight. It has to look a certain way in order to be considered professional hair. That just doesn't make any sense to me. And textures, the reason why we wanted to have it at a white institution is because it's not just a black topic. It's an international, global topic
mhm,
that needs to be heard and handled by everyone because, to be truthfully honest, it would have never been a problem if there were never any issues with colonization. Every place in the world where there's colonization, there's struggle with Black hair history. And so everybody is responsible for this strife. Everybody is responsible for the discrimination. They need to understand, what is happening instead of just sweeping it under the rug. It reminds me too, and I've been so frustrated with this because one way that, again, they want to continue to maintain control over us is by not allowing us to know our history, to know about who we are as Black people. And the Crown Act, passing that Crown Act, gives us agency to learn more about who we are. And I really think that people have a really difficult time with the fact that Black people are going to be learning more about who they are. They're going to learn about the history, which means we're going to be exposing more about what really happened. And they don't want that exposure. And so that's why they keep trying to push it down. Just recently, I had a conversation with my 13-year-old, and I have a 9-year-old little boy. I had gone to do a speaking engagement at Oberlin College. And Oberlin is a small city in Ohio, and they were a part of the Underground Railroad. And so there's monuments in Oberlin that are dedicated to the Underground Railroad. And so while I was there, I went around and took some pictures, and I brought the pictures home to my children. And I showed them, I said, oh, this is, mommy was so excited that she was able to go and see the Underground Railroad. And my 13-year-old said, well, mommy, what is that? Is that a train?
mm.
I said, what? You're
Oh,
you're 13. and you have never heard of the Underground Railroad, immediately I scheduled a trip. So during their spring break, I'm taking the kids to DC to take them to the National African American History Museum in DC, and I'm going to have them experience the exhibition there because they need to know, because they're not learning it in school, and they're purposefully not learning it. They don't want us to know.
Okay, this conversation can go left real, real
Hey,
fast. Whew, yeah. It's interesting that you say that because there is a lot of misinformation, I believe.
mhm,
And so this actually goes to Bloody Hannah's point. She says, I feel like sitting at the table with them would be subjecting yourself to gaslighting and uninformed opinions.
absolutely,
And yeah,
absolutely,
I agree.
absolutely,
I agree.
absolutely.
A lot of people aren't interested in the truth. And
Mhm.
one thing that I try to do every now and again, I let my emotions be on the forefront. But I try so hard, especially from a scientist perspective, I really try to let my logic dictate, my actions and what I do. But yeah, I think sometimes when you don't have the experience, that emotional empathy maybe isn't there. And I don't understand that because if all you got to do is put yourself in the other person's,
Yeah.
yeah, place and have a different perspective. But anyway, yeah. So Taria says, but it's good. I appreciate you ladies for opening up the dialogue. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, we are opening up the dialogue, but I want to make sure that emotions stay kind of neutral
Absolutely.
because
Yeah.
we can get wrapped up in like what Penny was talking about, how emotionally challenging it was to deal with her hair loss. And then it
Absolutely.
caused her to do things like wear a hat to bed because of the embarrassment and the shame. And that's just, yeah, not what we should be about. I think there should be some understanding. And I
Absolutely.
think that that is another discussion that we can have about the Black men's perspective. And you said that yourself, the type of men that you attracted was different
Hmm.
because of how you choose to wear your hair.
Hmm.
So our experiences will dictate how we navigate through this world, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And yeah, it's an experience that unless you're in our shoes, you really can't truly understand, but you should still be able to have empathy about the differences that we have and open up space for dialogue to see how we can share the same space.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, cool. Now, I want to, so is there anything that we haven't discussed that you would like us to know about the upcoming event? I know that it's April 14th and
Yes.
15th.
April 14th and 15th.
Yeah.
Yes. And as I mentioned before, there's about 16 scholars that are coming from across the nation, well, across the world. And we're really excited because we're going to get a chance to talk and dialogue. Not It's not often that Black people who are studying Black hair get to have conversations with other people who are studying Black hair. It's almost kind of like we're in this silo by ourselves, especially if we're a part of a university institution. We're oftentimes the only Black person, in our department if we're at a PWI. And so this is going to be not only just a space where we can exchange dialogue about the research, but also to offer some support for one another, you know.
Hmm.
And but the symposium is open to the community, so anyone is open and welcome to come. We have posted the schedule on our website. The website is www.texturesKSUmuseum wordpress.com. So if you want to learn more about the exhibition textures, you can find out more information there. We also have a book that we published, and Dr. Crystal will make sure that we get you a copy of that book when you come. But the textures catalog has been doing fabulously. We've gotten rave reviews. We're in our third print now of the book, and it's been traveling around the world. We actually have a couple of the books in a library in the Gambia, thanks to LaDosha Rights. So
Yes.
yeah. So it's been an amazing ride with this thing. But if you want to learn more about it, the website is there on the screen. Please check it out. The exhibition itself will be open until August 7th of this year. If you want to take a trip to Ohio and come and visit, we would love to have you come.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know where Kent, Ohio is, and so
Yeah, so it's an
how
hour from Cleveland.
okay, hour from
Yes, it's an
Cleveland.
hour from Cleveland.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it'll be my first time now. I've been to Akron before, but I haven't been to Kent State. So
Okay. Oh, good, good.
yeah,
Okay.
it'll be my first
Yeah,
time there as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Now, the other thing is, so Dr. Afia will be the keynote on Thursday night,
Yeah,
and then I will be the keynote speaker
on
on
Friday.
Friday. Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm talking about hairy business,
Yes,
getting to the root of healthy hair. That's what I will
yes,
be talking about on
yes,
Friday.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I'm just so pumped. I just can't wait. It's gonna be a fun time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sydney asked the question, how long will the exhibit be open? I think Dr. Tamika just answered that, August 7th.
Yes.
I currently live in Houston and would love to visit. So
Yes, yes. So you still have some time.
yeah. But the
Yeah.
symposium is April 14th
Yes,
to 15th.
yes,
So
yes.
I think that's where all the magic is going to happen.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
cannot wait. It's
yeah,
freaking awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So if there aren't any other questions, it is time to close it up. But I want to just thank everybody, especially you, Dr. Tamika. You have done something really special with this. And not too many people have access to what you have access to, or done the research, or had the experience that you've
Hmm.
had. So to join forces with your co-creator Joseph is like awesome. So really
Yes,
appreciate
yes,
you sharing the art, beauty, and history of hair
yes,
from people of African heritage.
yes, yes.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Crystal.
No problem. So, for those of you who watched the replay, be sure to post your comments and questions because we do see them afterwards. Thank you, Andrea. She says great information. Penny says thanks, Dr. T. And thanks, Dr. Porter. Thank you for your comments and for sharing your experience. That was awesome. So we would want to keep the conversation going. So if you haven't already, you can join the Our Black Hair Matters Movement Facebook group. We have had a number of dialogue. There have people who have asked for help, and I know experts who have specific niches. And so I've been able to connect them with people who I know, like, and trust. And I don't say that lightly. I don't just recommend anybody. A lot of people that I work with, it's actually very few, but they have been vetted. And
Mhm.
so if you do need help with your hair, you can go to bit.ly/OBHM consult and schedule a complimentary a free consultation. And if that's not, no other questions, I don't see any more. And thank you, Mary, for joining. Good seeing you as well. And always remember that our Black hair matters, and take care and love your hair. Bye bye.